Hi, guys. I want to think about two questions that I am often asked from students in writing classes. The first is, hey, how do I start this? And the second is, how do I end this? What that tells me is that students writing descriptive essays or writing essays in general have an idea what the content is that they want to write about, the subject, and what they want to say about the subject, but they're not so clear on how the introductory paragraph is constructed, how to get into it. With that in mind, I want to look at this sheet in front of us here and see if I can walk us through what I think is a bad introduction and get us to a better introduction here. So if I look at this, just the first 2.5 lines, a student who thinks of a paragraph as only something that's 5 sentences long will come up with an introductory paragraph like this. My mom was the most important person in my life when I was a kid. She showed me how to save money. She showed me how to be honest. She really helped people in the neighborhood. I believe that that was something a student wrote or started with once, be the second essay in written communication skills or describe a person. Just to cut to the chase, we'd have a discussion about it, but if you look at the bullet points, first, it jumps the subject too quickly. An essay needs to walk the reader through with the idea that they pick up exactly what the main idea is going to be. They have to get not just my idea, but they have to think like me. They have to follow my train of thought. I can't do that if I hit them with a subject in the first line. It needs to be gradual. Second, this particular effort reads a lot like a shopping list. Boom, done. Vague words like helped are going to need a little bit of assistance there. That's not going to be good enough as it is. So let's see here. If I move it down here into the second part, good, there we go. Getting used to the technology. I changed that. In the red is a motivator. It's an opening sentence that pretty much everybody is going to relate to, and it doesn't hit one specific subject for my essay. There are certain people who make a neighborhood better just by being there. If people close their eyes right away and they can think about their own communities, they can usually find a face right away that pops into their head of somebody. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's somebody in your own house, but somebody that makes the neighborhood or the community a better place. I move on and I get more specific. Locally, there are neighborhoods where police officers have begun to get to know the neighbors, and it makes the community feel safer. Additionally, older folks often bring a sense of class and dignity to everyone they live near. I've hit two examples. They narrow my subject matter down just a little bit. That also breeds respect. Now I get the subject, which is why I underlined it. I always felt like my mom made our neighborhood better too. She began a neighborhood watch, kept the street clean, and simply cared about how well everyone was. Then I get to my specific claim, my thesis statement, which is in blue. The three things I learned from my mom were how to be honest, how to treat people, and how to use what I have to help others. Now, to be fair, the second to last sentence originally is what the student tried to clean up as a thesis statement. I found it a little questionable. The second kept the street clean. I wasn't totally sure if that was literal or figurative. I like some type of thesis statement in which the number three comes in. Because what that does is it sets up three specific topic sentences, one for each body paragraph. And that's what I have here. These are pretty quick, just for the purpose of walking us through. How to be honest. Okay, my topic sentence then, my first body paragraph. Mom was the most honest person I've ever known. While she was honest with everyone she dealt with, one specific episode sticks in my head that defines her honesty. I remember when she took me to school one morning in the winter, she skidded a little on the ice and hit the mirror of a parked car. It would have been very easy to just keep driving. In fact, that's what all of us in the car first told her to do. Instead, she put a note on the car. When she didn't hear from the driver, she later stopped and knocked on the door until she found out who owned the car. She insisted on having the mirror fixed, even though the driver didn't think it was a big deal. She told us all it was a big deal, even though it was expensive. I never forgot that. That is an illustration. When I take an assertion, when I make a claim, I back it up with something, and in this particular case, it's a short narrative illustration about what I mean by growing up with somebody who shows honesty. I transition to my next topic sentence. In addition, I learned respect for people in the way she helped others. I still don't like that verb helped, what I take from one paragraph and move to the next. Very simply, Mom was one of those people who worried about everyone around her. She made it her business. I remember her looking in on elderly neighbors on the block and making sure everyone got what they needed from the store when storms hit. She made us all check out old folks. At this point, I'm old enough to notice my mom is now that old person the kids check on. That's not as much a narrative as an example, but it still clarifies what I mean about treating and helping others. I go from one to the next idea, in addition, comma, da. And my third body paragraph, I transition with the word finally. Finally, comma. Just like when we were little and we were taught to share, Mom always looked to share what she happened to have with those around us. At holidays, she always was concerned about which neighbors had no place to go. That meant she always planned for about 6 extra people at the table. She was always quick to volunteer us to cut grass for people in the neighborhood, which I didn't always love to do. Looking back, I can see that free help was something she felt she needed to share. It was a good habit to get into. I come back, how do I end this? With a concluding paragraph. I restate the thesis from up above. Same ideas, different wording. I had a lot to learn from growing up as I watched and witnessed my mom's daily honesty, her respect for others, and her willingness to share. Right there, I restructured. Now I'm going to take essentially the topic sentences from the body paragraphs and put it to good use. From admitting to simple mistakes that nobody ever saw, comma, to following the rules of the city, comma, I never saw Mom make things easier for herself by being dishonest about anything. I think I learned a lot about caring and respecting old people from watching her check on elderly neighbors. Her volunteering around the community and even looking after those with nowhere to go were things that everyone associated her with. I hope that these become habits of mine that people associate with me, and I hope that, like her, I can be one of those people who make the neighborhood better. Now, that last sentence really looks like that first sentence. There are people that make the neighborhood better just by being there. I try to come back as I end my essay to the original idea at the beginning. And if I do that, it's going to help me to bring the reader back to some place they're familiar with. And that's a good place to end. And speaking of which, this is a good place to end this video.